So realistically, it's not a huge fall on the security footage. It does make it seem a lot larger than it is. And for perspective, that security camera right there is where he was captured. So you guys will recognize this. This is where he was captured on camera. That's where he jumped off the roof. From multiple officers that we spoke to that actually worked the scene is the wooded area that the gun was supposedly stashed in.
In this episode, we'll look at the number 5 clue everyone missed.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear. Thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science. So that was footage from Taylor Hanson reenacting and recording the route of the suspected shooter. I'll be putting a link to that short video clip in the description. So let's review what we know. The shot rings out at 1, 2, 2, 3, 30 seconds. Let's put those numbers on screen. Now you can see from this screen grab that the CCTV provided by the FBI only starts 7 seconds after that. Many of you guys have gotten stuck on those missing 7 seconds, but that's just the starting line. After the shooter jumps off the side of the building, walks along the grass. By the way, do you notice he holds the towel concealing the rifle away from the white vehicle approaching the parking lot? Then after the vehicle passes, he switches it around so that it faces away from the traffic passing him on the left. Well, isn't that suspicious? Isn't he trying to hide something? And then the footage cuts off. What happens next? And where exactly was the rifle found? Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Welcome to the thousands of you who have subscribed. Again, kudos to Taylor Hanson, who went boots on the ground and verified this information himself. As I said, I'll put a link to his little video clip in the description. You can also follow me on X at Crime Rocket. If you're finding this analysis worthwhile, please do hit the thanks button and let's get started.
She spoke about the heartbreaking moments she had to tell their 3-year-old daughter Gigi that her father was never coming back.
Let's remember that this isn't just a game. We are talking about someone who lost their life and the investigation and the trial to bring his murderer, Charlie Kirk's murderer, to justice. If you've been complaining that we don't see the starting line in terms of the footage, an equal issue can be made about the finishing line. After the suspect is seen walking along the road, what happens next? It's one of the most unexplored areas of true crime, post-meditation. If you're hearing that term for the first time, well, it's because I coined it. Premeditation and post-meditation hold hands. They are mirror images of each other. After the suspect is seen walking along the road, what happens next? The answer is that he immediately crosses the highway, College Drive, and he enters a small nondescript wooded area. And this is where he abandoned his weapon, the towel, and some of his clothing. Here's the view towards UVU where he crosses the road. Here he has his back towards the woods. And here's the opposite view from Campus Drive of the woods with his back to UVU. Note the red line on the sidewalk and the white line running in the road designating a cycling lane running parallel to it. Well, here is that exact spot being cordoned off. You'll notice the embankment slopes steeply downward, creating a dark forest canopy and blocking off line of sight, which provides additional cover. Taylor Hanson also goes down into this area and describes it as quite a good area if that is what you wanted to do, hide something away. This is the same area from a different angle. And he has an officer collecting evidence in that embankment. You'll also notice the area underfoot is longish green grass, longer than the lawn he ran across and also sunless. Well, that's a match for the background of this image. Also, the dark shoe sticking out of the top corner of the image looks like it might belong to the FBI officer pictured above, crouched down on one knee. This is that same area taken from another angle. Note the red line running along the sidewalk and the white line in this image as well. Yeah, it's possible the engraved casings are being placed inside an evidence envelope. Can you make out what the officer is holding in his gloved hand? Could it be a dark towel? Now, when I did lighten the image, it didn't look like he was carrying anything. So we must be careful to draw inferences just because we want to. In this image, the officer appears to be placing something metallic into the envelope. It looks to me like, what is that thing? It looks to me like it could be a buckle or a watch more than a bullet. The officer crouching over, holding the envelope open, is not wearing a glove and could be in trouble if there is some DNA contamination. Once again, you can see in this image the grass is thinner and longer on this side of the road. Another interesting question to ask is where the shooter scoped out the cops in the woods. I don't think he would have parked right across the road. Probably he would have had an aerial view from the parking garage. So if you take the text messages as being authentic and you want to test whether it's possible to see what he was seeing, what he said he was seeing. Remember, he said, I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Then he said, going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they've moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it, so he's probably looking at the news as he's waiting or while he's waiting. He also says, I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. I'm wishing I'd circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. Also, I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. So that's where he says he changed. He says, the only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. And I think the bullets that he engraved as well. Later on he says, all right, I'm going to have to leave it. This really fucking sucks. So we get the idea that he was surveilling them while they were investigating that scene. The question again is from where? The other part many miss is that the starting line isn't actually when he fires the shot. That's the halfway mark. The starting line is wherever he parks his car. Once he makes it back to his car, he's basically home free. So it also makes sense that the direction he heads in after firing the shot is straight towards his vehicle, but for some reason he doesn't feel it safe walking all the way to his vehicle with a rifle in his hand, and this is the riskiest part of the whole plan. If someone sees the rifle and sees his vehicle, he reckons he's toast. So he wants to break up that ability to join the dots, just as he dressed in different clothing to try to avoid detection. Do you see, if we are going to join the dots, it's not only joining ABC and XYZ, we also have to join Z to A. And we can see that's exactly where he's headed. In this case, we can see he's heading from point number 9 towards point number 1, which is where his car is parked. He can get back to his car by changing shirts and then threading his way through the relatively quiet neighborhood to retrieve the firearm, except then things go awry. Does that make sense? I can't really say why the FBI haven't provided the first 7 seconds or the last 7 seconds. It could be that they want to preserve those scenes and don't want looky-loos trespassing or contaminating the scene. Right now, the area of the shooting is cordoned off and is under 24/7 surveillance. By the way, this perspective also confirms what law enforcement said when they spoke about the shooter's approach, which would have been from this side and would have involved stepping over the fence-like barrier and onto the gravel surface of the roof. Let's go back to the affidavit. The suspected shooting position is adjacent to an open, publicly accessible walkway. To access the suspected location, a person must climb over a railing. Well, is there a railing? Check. And then drop to the roof only slightly below. Is the roof only slightly below? Check. The UVU officer climbed over the railing and down onto the roof. He then walked to the suspected shooting position and confirmed a clear shooting corridor between the position and Mr. Kirk's seat. He also noticed markings in the gravel rooftop consistent with the sniper having lain on the roof, impressions in the gravel potentially left by the elbows, knees and feet of a person in a prone shooting position, prone meaning lying on the ground. Police reviewed surveillance from the camera covering the roof and discovered that it recorded an individual dressed in dark clothing cross the railing from the public walkway and drop onto the roof at about 12:15 p.m. That's about 7 or 8 minutes prior to the shooting. This is important. Although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time, the camera again captured the individual running across the roof and then low crawling to the area the UVU officer recognized as where the suspected sniper had dropped down into a prone shooting position. So this low crawling area, this was actually recorded prior to the shot. After a short time, which matches the known time of the shot, 30 seconds, the individual arose and ran across the roof to the northeast and back into the view of the camera. So we have confirmation here that the crucial area where the sniper lay was an area where the CCTV wasn't able to pick up the shooter, certainly not the continuous movements. You can also see that although there are several ladders providing access to the roof, these would be risky to climb given the huge crowd milling around. This is why the stairwell was chosen for more discreet access to the roof. In point of fact, this stairwell was a critical vulnerability, a crucial security flaw that the shooter took advantage of. Going forward, this security hole will need to be addressed by UVU staff. Fox News recently published an article stating a security expert says Tyler Robinson got extremely lucky finding access to the Utah roof to allegedly carry out the attack. Well, I'm not going to take it further than that. Are there any questions? Well, let me know in the comments. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.